Hi, it's Colin here from Colin's Beauty Pages, and I'm answering the question, what is micellar water? And the answer is very simple. Micellar water is water that contains micelles, which is straightforward enough, but begs the question, what are micelles? Micelles are a form of liquid crystal. You may have heard the term liquid crystal used before about LED displays and various other applications, but they're quite important in colloid science, and colloid science is quite important in cosmetics. And micelles are actually quite a big deal in colloid science. In fact, the company that publishes most of the big colloid science journals is called the Micellar Press, which reflects the fact that most of us regard micelles as our favourite form of liquid crystal. Liquid crystals are the result of the way surfactant molecules are made up. A surfactant molecule is by definition made up of a water-soluble head group and a fat-soluble tail. When two of these surfactant molecules come close together, the head groups tend to exhibit repulsion and the long fatty tails tend to exhibit attraction. If you put a whole lot of these surfactant molecules together, they are quite likely to create a structure as a result of the attractions and repulsions. They sort of sort themselves out into an ordered structure. This one, for example, is a lamellar liquid crystal. These aggregate properties are the things that are really important in predicting how molecules will behave. It is almost impossible to work out how a molecule will behave in solution from its individual properties. A very good example of this is sodium lauryl sulfate. Sodium lauryl sulfate is a very irritating molecule. In fact, it's used to deliberately cause irritation in studies of irritated skin. However, if you want to irritate the skin, you have to pick your solution quite carefully. Not any old solution of sodium lauryl sulfate will do. If you have a solution where all the sodium lauryl sulfate molecules are tied up in micelles, it's not in fact irritant. You can't look at a formulation and say, this product contains sodium lauryl sulfate and therefore it is irritant, unless you really know what you're doing. In fact, much of the skill of the formulation chemist is in determining just how things are going to behave when they get put together in a formulation, and quite often the only way to know is to make up a formulation and see how it comes out. Basically, formulation is really trial and error, largely because of the unpredictable behaviour of liquid crystals. But it's not all bad news, because these liquid crystals can give you some very interesting behaviour as well, and that's exactly what's been done in the case of micellar water. Micelles have a very particular spherical structure. They look something like soap bubbles, only on a very small scale, but this small scale means that they have a very high surface area, so they are very effective at absorbing small quantities of oil from the surface of the skin and doing it in a way that is very low in any kind of irritant effect. This makes them very much the ideal makeup remover. One thing I can't explain scientifically is why they cost so much. In order to produce a micelle, you need only a very low level of a very cheap surfactant. These things really shouldn't cost much more than water, but of course cosmetic products and their ingredients bear very little relationship to the price. I'm afraid that's just one of the things that science can't explain. In the meantime, thanks for listening.